Alright, okay, here's another video. This one's called the Bearish Three Black Crows. Alright, it's actually the opposite of the three white soldiers. It's a three candle formation pattern. Okay, and the way this looks is that we're coming in on an uptrend, and then you'll see basically an immediate reverse. And then it's advisable to wait for a confirmation when you're on smaller time frames. Larger time frames, because it's such a, well, it is actually a pretty high reliability actually, more so on larger time frames like the 4 hour and the daily time frame. Okay, those would be the better ones to use, but when you use the smaller time frames you have to use a confirmation in there. Okay, let's see for confirmation. Alright, but the 4 hour and the daily ones you can just basically go short straight away. Let's go ahead and show you these kind of little differences on the Forex chart. Okay, this one here is on the daily and it's using the Swiss versus the USD, and it has such strong, here is a confirmation in itself, although it's not a proper confirmation. Well, there's two ways, as I say before. One of the confirmations is to make sure, this should zoom in, and so one of the ways to make sure is to make sure that the low closes lower than the previous low. But I always like to make sure that the closes lower than the previous low to give you the idea that it's going to keep on coming down. However, this one also shows that the market sentiment is still in favor of the bears, because see the high here, it didn't actually break that high. It made a new low, but it didn't break the high of the previous candle. If it broke the high of the previous candle, then this is sentiment to say that this downtrend is now depleted. Alright, it's basically saying, okay, we made a new low, but we failed to make a new high, so therefore we're going to continue the downtrend. Okay, if the next candle came in and broke that high, then there will be a bit of a battle, and then it might see some changes going back the other way. So this is on the daily time frame. This would have been good to go in on the very next candle after this candle forms, so you would have got in around about here. Alright, this also looks like a pretty good area to get into as well. We're kind of like borderline here really on support / resistance. And let's just zoom out a little bit to see if we're going to come into any immediate traffic on the way down. We don't see anything going there for quite a while. And this one basically just it does keep coming down, so that's quite nice. So that's one way to using this of the daily. Now if we take a look at another area, we can see that we are in fact in a downwards trend. Alright, so when you see these kind of formations appearing, this is a 15-minute time frame, you are in a downwards trend, so that's good. So never fight the downwards trend. Okay, and when you see these black crows coming in, like here's the three white soldiers, and then you can confirm that there's a confirmation you can go either long on the next bar or go long on that particular bar here. And then you've got two lots of three black crows. You've got 1, 2, 3 sets of down candles. That's the first three black crows. And then you got 1, 2, 3, which is the second set of the three black crows. So you've had a three black crows confirm a three black crows kind of thing. That would kind of make me want to go short straight there and then, but it'd be nice to make sure that you're doing all your analysis correctly. We're on a 15-minute time frame. You need to then say to yourself, okay, well, how many pips are you going to go for? Are you going to go for like 100? Or are you going to go for 30 or whatever? So therefore, if you're going to go for something like 100, you would need to make sure you're on the right time frame, because you're not going to really guarantee to get that out of a 15-minute time frame. Alright, you're more likely going to get around about sort of like 20 pips or so out of it. So we could switch to a larger time frame, like maybe the 4 hour, and nothing really appears out of the blue. Let's go back to that 15-minute where we see those two lots of, was it on the 15-minute we was on? This thing's repainting itself for some reason. I'm not sure why it's doing that. I'll have to get my program out to take a look. Alright, here we are here. So let's go ahead and put my tool in there and just go there and then zoom in and zoom out to see if there's any more signals coming in. Alright. So what I've done here is I've gone into a higher time frame here, and what I've noticed is that we've got a bearish engulfing pattern, but bearish engulfing patterns are better to take on at the top of the trends. But again, I mean, it's nice to take a look to see what's going on. New low was established. It didn't break the previous high, so that was good. The next candle's good. It's still favouring the bearish. So yeah, I probably would have taken that on. So I mean, based on that, you know, I would have taken that trade on. All my candles are messed up again. Alright. Okay, see if we can find some more areas. Let's get rid of those. Let's get rid of that. They don't come across often. Let's maybe try. Almost close, it's almost one. Oh, I can't really seem to find anymore. They seem to be pretty hard to find. But I'm hoping that you know you get the general idea. Here's 3 black crows. Let's have a look at this one. See that? This is why I like to be a little bit more cautious with these 3 black crows, especially on smaller time frames. You notice that, I mean, it's nice to see these signals happening at the top of the trends for the bearish signals, okay, which is what you're supposed to have. And with this particular 3 black crows formation, unfortunately, it does. I mean, you will get to see areas like this more often than not. Actually, is that when you get to the end of the formation, it could be possibly the end of the trend as well. Alright, so you know, try and take these with a pinch of salt and not be too overexcited to get in on these. Let's just take a look. It doesn't count from that little bar there, the little red bar, because the high is not high enough. So it starts from this bar, and this bar. Okay, the last candle does actually confirm. So if you're one of these people that prefer to wait for a confirmation candle, you can go in on that bar, or after that bar, and you go in on this bar. But if you're happy with those 3 candle formats, then you can get in on that bar, maybe come out on that bar. So that's the best way to really play smaller time frames, is that when you see the first formation come in, you go in when you're supposed to go in, like there's a 3 black crows. You put your stop loss up to the next previous high, and you target basically the next close, so you're in and out within 15 minutes or 16 minutes or so. Alright, and whatever distance that is. But that can be tiring, waiting for patterns like that. I mean, like here's another Harami, a bullish, sorry, a bearish Harami. It doesn't confirm, it goes the other way, so you do the opposite, and then you go long, and then you come out on the next bar. Alright, so, but yeah, so with the, you know, the 3 black crows, try and be very, very cautious when you're acting off the smaller time frames, and when you're acting off the larger time frames, you can essentially go long or short, depending on whatever it is that you're doing. But this one's actually a black crow, so you want to go short on those, and you can go short right on the very next bar of you know, of its formation, which is the 4th bar. Alright, and that's on the daily time frames or the 4-hour time frames. Again, with the 4-hour time frame, still make sure that you know that you're going to have some room to actually come down lower. And if you can't come down like a significant amount, maybe just go in and come out at the end of that 4-hour bar or that daily bar. Here is another nice example of that abandoned baby that I was telling you about before, and it just drops right down to there. There's that big gap, and eventually it comes back. Alright, that's really the proper abandoned baby, but they're doing it a little bit different online on the and what have you. Alright, so okay, alright, yeah, I think we've basically got that covered. Alright, so give that a go. I mean, look, here's the opposite. Here's the 3 white soldiers. 1, 2, 3. See how long they are, and you could have actually gone long on this candle, and then by the time you've done that, the trade is exhausted. All right, and then it comes back down again. 15-minute time frame. This is why you have to be very, very careful. You know, you could actually go long here and get out at that close. All right, but you wouldn't have made many pips. It would have been, you know, like about 3 or 4 pips, and then you've got the pip spread to think about. So it could have been broke even. Alright, so you know, got to be very cautious of this. So I would really act off these 3 white soldiers and 3 black crows off of larger time frames. Okie dokie. Alrighty, so I will see you very soon in the next video. Bye for now.